Afternoon. Just a couple of points I wanted to talk about today. The first one was the Tommy Robinson March. I think in reality, when we looked at it, there was less there than there was in the first one. But considering the shenanigans that were taking place in London and the misdirection from the police that I heard first-hand comments on, where people were told, no, you need to go this way, no, you can't get down there this way, you need to go back that way. And they were literally being passed from pillar to post. And it was only Reverend Sideways that made the point this morning that because he had a suit on, he was ignored and he walked straight through blockades and got straight there. So they were obviously picking out what people were wearing, certainly if they were carrying banners. And if you watched my earlier video, you would have seen me. I went from the back of the march, walked around via Scotland Yard to where Antifa were, but they weren't. And a few people have made comments on my video saying the march was over, or there was loads and loads of them there. Well, if there were loads and loads there, why did I come across banners that were still taped to one another for distribution? So that couldn't have been the case. As a protester, someone on a march, if I ever see banners, I pick one up. That's what they're there for. To show your colours. Like colours at a football match. You pick it up. You walk with it. And I had mine in my backpack. I wasn't making any. I wasn't trying to do anything skullduggery. I was there, showing what I was about and who I was supporting. And the second point I wanted to make was, and I want to keep these short because I think that the shorter the videos, the more likely people watch them. The second point was what will happen on Tommy's review case, his appeal. I think I'm in two minds as to what will happen. Hopefully, like all of us, I hope that the case is thrown out and he walks out of there with no cloud above his head, no restrictions, no you can't do this, you can't say that. I think the more likely thing to happen is that he will be released, but he will be released with so many caveats as to what he can and what he can't say, where he can and where he can't go, that it would be no different to him being in prison, other than he will be a free man as such. Knowing Tommy in regards to seeing what he's been like in the past, I don't know him personally, I wish I did. I think if he gets the latter situation, he'll push the envelope. He'll push it as far as he possibly can. And for that, we all have to salute him, There were some good points made at the march yesterday. People that are now revered in history as being huge peacemakers. Mahatma Gandhi, Mandela. These were people in their time that were considered terrorists. Mandela was put inside for 40 years for being a terrorist, for planting bombs, for being involved in murder. Mahatma Gandhi was a civil protester, but there were a lot of people harmed and injured and killed on his watch. So it's just interesting how when time and the clock evolves, how these people go from being classed as terrorists to being freedom fighters to being freedom advocates. And I truly believe, maybe not in my lifetime, but I truly believe that will be the case with Tommy. And when I say in my lifetime, for those that don't know, I've actually got terminal cancer. So I'm living on borrowed time. I was only given 5 years, 8 years ago. I know I look well, but that's another story. Brain tumour. Probably why some people say I talk a lot of crap, but that's neither here nor there. So those are my 2 points. I think the march yesterday, in reality, was smaller than the first one. But I truly believe that there was so many shenanigans going on with the police that people were confused as to where to go. My personal experience was I came out of Westminster Station. I went to walk down Whitehall as I did last time, and a young lad, everyone's young to me, I'm just coming up to 50, young lad probably in his mid-20s came up to me and said, are you on the march? And I laughed because I thought, well, what is it about me that says that? And he says, well, you're wearing England colours, which I try and do as often as possible. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, you can't get down this way. And I remembered how else to get there. So I said, well, if you're happy to stick with me, I'll show you how to get there. So we went round, past Houses of Parliament, past Scotland Yard, the military building, and then round the back. But if you don't know London, which like a lot of people don't, they were all coming from all over the country, you're going to speak to Bobby. Bobby's going to tell you, Mr. Policeman's going to say, no, you need to go down this way. Well, you go down this way, and there's another policeman saying, no, you've been misdirected. You need to go out there and turn left, turn right, whatever. All that time's eating up into the march time. And I was very aware. I was at the back of the march because the front was way too crowded for me. Last time I was able to sit on the wall by 10 Downing Street. They wouldn't let anyone do that this time. And I couldn't stand up for that amount of time. So I wandered to the back, and what I was aware of was all the time I was standing there was people still coming. People still coming. 2/3 of the way through the speech, people were still coming. And, you can't get that many trains late and so on and so forth. So there was definitely a bit of misdirection. And to recap on my second point, as I say, I think Tommy will get out, but I think he's more likely to get out with some really heavy restrictions than he is to get out with no caveats on his release. I think if the third option happens, where they keep him in, that one's a bit more worrying. I've spoke about civil unrest. I've spoke about the possibility of people just getting fed up with the status quo, and I don't want to see that happen. I believe in some level of peaceful civil disobedience, and as I've said before, if everyone that was on that march yesterday just went and sat down in the road, what's going to happen? I've witnessed the police charging in Trafalgar Square with the horses purely because a woman had a pig balloon with Sadiq Khan's face on it, and that was offensive. I don't know who it was offensive to, because the only people in that square were Tommy Robinson supporters, and they were all applauding it. But she got extremely harassed by the police, and they obviously called for reinforcements. Reinforcements came in the way of, I think it was about 5, maybe 6 horses. They're riot horses, I felt sorry for the horses. They don't choose to be there. They're just dragged into it. They showed their disrespect by pooing all over the floor right in front of Trafalgar Square, which created a demarcation line. That did make me chuckle. But the reality was they didn't need to come in so strong. And that was provoking. And the police have got a lot of experience of these sort of things. They didn't need to do that. Anyway, another short one today. Trying to keep them short. Speak to you later. Take care. Bye. Oh, like and subscribe. Sorry, forgot that bit.